Hi guys, time to show off some of the major improvements in Foundry and how my data is beginning to adapt and mold to the new features. So we're looking at some very large maps now. This one is 8,000 by 8,000 pixels to give us lots and lots of space for exploring ourselves around town. The buildings themselves are shrunk down a bit from what they would actually be, which is why I don't have any windows or furniture in them. The long-term goal is to have a detailed map like this one pinned to each one of them. That way we can also have multiple stories and other things that would just be incredibly clunky to do on this level of view. And you're like, wow, that works okay for a village, but what would happen if you had a full-fledged city? Well, for a city, well, I'm planning to have things more like this, that then have pinned maps that are this type of detail, or they're probably going to be more like, if we look over in the compendium, under battle maps, we can see that I've already made one street map, which we'll just import that real quick and change it down here so it shows up in navigation. We can see here that it's just a very generic street. It would be okay for pinning smithy shops, and you could even start going into it and do things like create a sound over here. Local, so it's going to be channeled by the walls to make it easier for the players to find the center of it. And then let's go in corner assets, sounds, city, tools. We have various hammering sounds and saw sounds and some smithy sounds. I'm just going to choose this one. I know we don't have any previewer for them, and that's sad. You can use something like Soundly to preview the library and choose which ones fit best, and I could go into that in the future. But for now, we're just going to drop a character over there. And now we can hear the smithy over here, and then we could pin onto the map. Bob's Smithy. And it's a text type, not an image type. If we wanted it to be a great big zoomed in image, we could choose image there. Now that we have this here, we can pin it to the map. That means that as players are going around, they will be able to walk over, look into the smithy, switch over to the tab where they'll be able to see those. Oh, I didn't conform it. Switch over to the tab where they can see those, and then they'll be able to see it there inside. Now, their view won't go global like mine does when I switch tabs. They'll stay on their own view, but I'm in Game Master view right now, so it's not doing that. Now, we're also adding in some other images. So I've started using some software that does a really good job. Boo. This just allows you to stick the hyperlink in there. It does not give you something to help find it. So to show you off one of the images, real quick and easy, I'm going to go over to the scenes and create a scene and reference anything that I have in the images folder. Let's look at a building, and this is just a view. Ooh, I think it's this one. I was having a bit fun doing something really exotic and strange, so I probably shouldn't use this as an example, but I'm going to anyway. Oh, no, this one is more normal. So we could even pin this by using that hyperlink reference and stick it onto the journal entry. But that's kind of complex, kind of clunky, but hopefully we'll get better UI for that relatively soon. In the meantime, onto more exploration and fun stuff. We can have sounds pinned to the map. Now, players are always going to hear wherever their character is. So as a game master, when I click off the character, I only hear global sounds. I can move diagonally by double-clicking the left and the up or level combination at the same time, or I can just use the 1, 7, 9, and 3 buttons on the number pad to move around. You can hear that the sounds increase as you get closer to the river. I'm also just starting to experiment in sounds for beasts and monsters. The cool thing here would be that when you open the door, the sound's going to start spilling out. So even if these guys were off to the side, you'd be able to start to hear the sounds there in that room. Possibly, if you set it up right. It has some potential in here. It also has potential for you to be able to place sounds so that they are just... So the sounds out here are the things around the corner, so the players can hear the sounds before going around the corner. Or you can even set sounds to be global, so they go through walls, so you can hear as you're approaching the door before you've even opened it. There's a lot of potential here for various things, but there's also a lot of potential, like with a tavern. The sound is blocked by that door, but it's not blocked by a window. So if we walk around the side, we can hear it that way as well. So apparently it's an open window, not a glass window. We can hear that here I have it set for the sound of the bustling tavern is uniform throughout, but the fireplace gets louder the closer you get. So from across the room, we aren't really going to hear it at all. So there's been a lot of improvements on that type of fun fluff stuff. I've also been working on some more of the meat and potatoes. So if we go over to the maze, those of you that have been paying attention may remember in the past when we opened the sheet and a call out here to Felix with his better NPC sheet that you can get for free by going to one of these links. It is beautiful. I've been doing a lot of optimization, so now when we go into one of these things and we try and use a feature that has dice, we can hear some of the sounds that I'm beginning to plug in. Like I said, they're not the best. I'm just starting with that. We can see that there's some stuff going on here. We can also plug in... Let's go to something... Because weapons were working in the past, but actions were not. And we can see that these are now walking up through CR4, I believe, is where I ended up stopping. And I'll finish them up at some point. I also need to still work on features. So right now, if either of these had roles associated with them, that wouldn't do anything at this point. Cool. Let's see. Oh, wait. I also wanted to show off another call out. Felix has also come up with the NPC browser and the spell browser. If you go to his GitHub and the main page, you'll be able to find descriptions of them there. But these things are amazing. So if we come down here, we can now say that I want an NPC that is a dragon of size large. There are indeed large dragons. It's having a heyday. Oh, it's because he has these capitalized on some and not on others. Okay, so that type of thing I'll hopefully fix eventually as I make my own version. Why would I make my own version? Well, my database also has information on terrain and lore. So you could do only monsters that exist in the Arctic and come from Norse mythology and build an entire session around that. Because I have a lot of stuff that fits into that because I started with Norse mythology when I started expanding the bestiary. And eventually, there should hopefully be enough stuff in here that you could build a good encounter for any terrain type, any lore. There's a lot of stuff out there. I want to add a lot more to it, but I'm really busy doing other stuff right now, so I'm not really focused on adding to the bestiary. Again, his spell browser is phenomenal. It allows us to say that I want only level 2 druid spells, which makes it a lot easier when you're trying to get your spells and figure out what all you want. That being said, its downside, the way it does this, is it has a huge list of all of the spells and which ones are druid and which ones are this and which ones are that, which means if you have a spell not on that list, it's not going to register. And since I have a bunch of homebrew stuff, that means that the homebrew stuff like Abandoned Ship will not appear in anyone's lists because it only belongs to the Rune Crafter, and the Rune Crafter isn't in here. Let's see. Cast Magic Aurora is by Wizard. So I'm making progress on this, but there's still a lot further to go. Oh, dance. So there's certain spells, and I have to hit enter to refresh, and it's not finding them because it's not level 2. Okay, so Dance of Air, Earth, Fire, and Water, these are brand new that I helped make with Yasuragi's help, and Warlock and Wizard. So if we filter by Warlock now, you'd be like, it's still going to be there, but it's not, because it's not on the approved list of spell names, and so therefore it's not properly parsed. But hopefully I'll be able to fix that when I make my own. So we can see in here that I have 20 categories of actors, each of which is sorted by level. And so I'm looking at the level 20s right now, and let's find a wizard. And here are all of the wizards we have available. And let's go into one of these, and let's just do the identification wizard. So I just clicked on the import button, which is added into the actors list. Now as we're looking into the spell book, we'll see that a lot of these, if we click on them, they do things. Which is progress. Now, we still have a lot further to go. You'll notice that once we get down to level 5, so up through level 4 is pretty good. But level 5s, we start getting iffy. And there's data missing there. I'm partway through the level 5s, but not all the way through. And then the level 4s, well, you have pictures on things before C, but it needs a lot of work. So like these, you can drop the description, but you're still going to be doing all 20d6 plus 20d6. Which is a very nice roll. And it tells you what all you rolled in each ones with your subdividers. So that way if something was resistant to the fire or the bludgeoning, you could divide it out and all would be well. But still extremely complex. And this will be added eventually. And the cool thing is if you're using the pre-made characters and you keep with us on Patreon, then as we fix these, they're procedurally generated. So when I fix it once, those fixes will flow through the whole system. And fix on all of the actors by just me fixing the main spell list, which is good because it's a lot of time to do all of that. My sister is a master of writing lore and stories and books and making them interesting, and she started to help me put together a plot line for what's going on in this world. It's not going to be a traditional campaign where it railroads you to plot. It's going to be more like we set the scene and give you a recommendation of possible quests that you could do, or you could just go off and explore the world in general. And the goal is to have the cities pinned. So like that city down there would be this one over here. And on the cities, we're going to have streets pinned. And on the streets, we're going to have buildings pinned. And all throughout here, we're going to have lore and description as we go, so that you can immersively go and explore the world. Now, it's not quite there yet, because right now, if I pin... So, in our journal, if we open up Bob's Smithy, we want to say that this is at Scene Tavern 002 save. It does turn it into linked button. You're like, oh, as well, if I click this, it'll move my token to the tavern. And it opens the tavern notes. Well, that's great, but that's not what we wanted. But that's a brand new feature, and hopefully I can convince them to change it so that when you do this, if it's a sheet that is shared with your players, that we can place a token. This one. Place a token on the map and have a button here that we click that says spawn point. Which point it will move you. I forgot to choose media for it. Yeah. But at which point it will teleport, it will place your token on the spawn point or in the spawn point if the spawn point goes over multiple squares, and let you begin exploring that map. Which I think would be a really cool way to explore the world when your game master is offline. But we'll see if I can convince other people. Already we have a greatly improved systems like over here. If we switch to these, we can see that there's a bunch of things pinned all over the map. If you double click on one of these, it pops up the riddle. Your players will be able to see this. And then it has the answer, and this funny box thing means that only the owner of it, i.e. the game master, can see it in this case. And then it just has a credit section down here at the bottom. I got a lot of these riddles from a public domain book, so I could legally include them and still distribute it. But I'm not required to give credit, but I still want to give credit because he did a great job when he wrote that book a long time ago. Cool. Well, that's going through most of the features, showing you the general direction we're going. I'm really looking forward to using Flowscape to make a lot more images like this and a lot of other images. I've made some castles, some pictures of dragons and other things. I'm hoping to work into some into some token art for those dragons and ogres and some skeletons. There's a lot of progress, but there's still a lot left to be done. Thank you guys for all of the support. Thank you for staying with me through this project. Head on over to our Patreon and we'll grow together. God bless you and have a great day. Bye.